Mr. Bada, today, first of all, we'll talk about how to improve English,
Mm-hmm.
especially for intermediate students.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so
Yes.
since you
Yes.
are an international tutor on Italki, so could you please share your experience with me? What kind of difficulties you see in intermediate students? So, first of all, tell me your
Mhm.
experience.
Yes. Yes. So it's been, as I said, it's been one of the best experiences because you meet people from different cultures and you learn about them a lot of things, and you have people from, sorry, you have people from different levels, you see, and it's really it makes you want to learn more about teaching. It makes you want to be the best for them, right? Because they really rely on you, and a lot of them are really serious about learning. And especially, I noticed the past few months and even years with COVID, a lot of people are transitioning to online learning, and that's one of the perks of technology, I guess. So technology makes learning simple and accessible and convenient. And speaking of maybe learning English and especially intermediate students, I guess most of the students, like 90% of the people I've worked with, they struggle with speaking because most of them, they
Mm,
live in countries where English is not, the official language.
mm,
So they don't have the chance to be exposed to the language, to practice on a daily basis. And as you know, English, or in order to learn any language, right, you need to use it, right, on a
mm,
daily basis. You need to interact with people. You need to use the vocabulary because in school, right, language schools, most of them, they teach people vocabulary,
mm,
right? But even if they teach you vocabulary, grammar, that does not mean you're going to be a good speaker, right? Because speaking, the best way to speak the language is to actually speak it and to get rid of the anxiety that comes,
mm,
right? Anxiety and the fear. And I've noticed that with many, many people. So I guess the problem is not with the difficulty of the language itself. It's not that English is a difficult language. It's just, the mental
mm,
aspect of it. Because people, as I've said, they are really afraid and it's difficult for them to, leave that comfort zone, right? To speak, to interact. And even if they want to do so, it's really hard because they live in countries where English is not really spoken. And there is also this problem of when it comes to speaking, I would say there is this problem of maybe your native language.
mm,
So it's because in school, they teach us like the four skills, right? They teach us that there is reading, listening, writing, and speaking. But there is another skill which is very, very important. It's the skill of thinking. And when it
mm,
comes to foreign languages, if you want to be a good speaker, you have to think not in your native language, but in the target language. So the
mm,
language you're trying to speak. And it all starts in the mind. So I guess we should look at it from this perspective. So how we think, how can we think, right, in the target language? And in this case, how can we think in English, not in our native language? Because many students, they think first in their native language and they try to translate in their heads, and it takes them a long time and they start making mistakes because different languages have different grammatical structures. So the
mm,
structure of English is completely different from the structure of Arabic. So
mm,
that's why even if you translate inside your head, you're not going to be you're not going to speak, right? You're not going to say the things that you actually want to say. So the best way is to start thinking in English. And this is a process, right? It's a long process. It doesn't happen overnight. And the best way to do that is to be exposed to English as much as you can. That's what I say to people. So if you don't have the chance to speak on a daily basis, at least try to use your, I would say, receptive skills like
mm,
listening and reading. So, there are productive skills, right? Speaking and writing, and there are receptive skills. So, at least use that. You can use it, and you don't need people to help you with listening or with reading. So you can read to learn vocabulary, and you can listen so that you can improve your understanding. So listening is very important. It's a very important skill. And if you think about it, and if I ask you to go back years ago, and how did you learn your native language or your local dialect? We learn our native languages through conversations. Well, first there is listening. So when we are kids and we are acquiring, our mother tongue, first we listen to people around us, having conversations and talking about different things, and then we try to do just like them. So we see, we hear what they say, and then we try to speak like them. We make mistakes, and it's normal. And then we get feedbacks from them. So we make mistake, we don't say something, the right way. Then your dad comes and says, no, that's how you should say it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we try, automatically it happens, inside the mind, and we start forming the rules on our own. So the same principle should be applied to not only English but any foreign language. So listen and listen and listen, learn vocabulary and get feedback from people. That's why having the right person, the right teacher or mentor or tutor is one of the best, I guess, investments you can make. So that's a very important aspect when it comes to learning English.
Yeah. So you have made a couple of points. Now I would like to
Mm.
mention my own experience with intermediate students. As I have
Mhm.
mentioned, I'm from India. Okay, Indian people, they can understand English. There is no problem at all for them. But as you have mentioned, we don't speak English in our day-to-day life on the daily basis. So here lies the problem in our country as well. Indians don't speak English on the daily basis because there is no English environment in our surroundings, and very less people can interact with others in English. So most of the Indians, they are intermediate students. Okay, they are neither beginners nor advanced students. They are intermediate. Okay, so you have mentioned that point, and I agree with you 110% that we need to be exposed to this language in the form of spoken English, in the form of reading skills, in the form of writing skills, in the form of listening skills, etc. So my perspective regarding learning different languages is same as you have mentioned. So I don't have any problem at all, and I hope your points will be very helpful and beneficial for my audience as well. When they'll be watching this video, they will definitely take advantage of your points, and they will definitely implement in their lives to improve English. Now, Mr. Badar, let's come to another point regarding the English language. Okay, there are many people who do have vocabulary, who do have grammar, but the problem is when they try to speak with other people, they feel very nervous, they feel very hesitant. Okay, they have
Yes.
fear of public speaking. So how to
Yeah.
resolve these problems?
Yes. Yes. So as a someone who went through the same experience, so years ago when I finished high school and I decided to start my career and to continue my studies in English. So back then I didn't have a really good level, and when I started university, the first day I remember I was like, oh wow, this is really difficult, because like most of the students there were able to speak English. They had good skills, and maybe I wasn't as good as them. So I faced that problem. I used to be so shy, so insecure about speaking English. And this is normal, right? This is normal. And I remember one day I had a conversation with one of my professors,
Okay.
and he told me something that, stayed here, that I still remember until
Okay.
now. So we were talking about learning and language acquisition, and all of a sudden he said, learning a foreign language, right? So when you learn a foreign language, it's okay to make a fool of yourself. That's the best way to learn, right?
Okay.
Because you have to make mistakes so that you get feedback, so that you can use that same feedback to learn. And I guess it's also the mental aspect of it, because it's the fear of being judged that drives people, maybe let's say they start doubting themselves. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe people will not understand me. Maybe people will judge me. But they forget that actually speaking, right, a foreign language and learning a foreign language, it's a sign of bravery, actually, right? So because
Yeah.
you are brave, you are willing to take risks to speak a foreign language. And there are many people, right, in many places, they only speak one language. So if you look, for example, some, like just like the United States. So many people in the United States, they speak just English. They don't speak, other languages. And I guess you see, so when you learn a language, you give a message, right? You give a message to other people that you are actually willing to grow and to learn and to leave your comfort zone. And I guess it's all about your comfort zone. It's the mental, there is a mental barrier to that. And I experienced that myself, many times. I remember I used to talk to people, and before I would say something, I would just, think a lot, and I would sometimes say, no, 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 this is not the right way. Maybe people will not understand me. And I learned after that that the best way to learn, especially a language, is when you start putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. And that's what I started doing. And this, I guess, became more clear when I had the chance to have my first experience in an international environment. So I joined an organization for educational exchange, and I started working with American people on a daily
Okay.
basis. And that was my first experience. And there is no use in Arabic, no use in French, so the only English. So at first it was really challenging because I wasn't used to using English every day. But I realized after that I realized that it really helped me. So after just 3 months, of daily contact, right, of having conversations, doing different activities, and putting myself in situations that I once thought I would never, be able to experience. So when I started doing that, that was my breakthrough, right?
Okay.
That's what made the difference. So I started to speak, and I making mistakes was no longer important. So I started to think about what I can give to people rather than thinking about the mistakes or what they will not get. Because language learners, many of them, they think about other people and they get too external. And I guess it's really something you should avoid, right? Not only in language learning, but all areas of life. So don't get external, don't think about what other people think about you. So think what you can actually share, what you can actually give, because we have, we are all gifted. I believe
Yeah.
so. So we all have something to give to people. So it doesn't matter, the mistakes, the fear will just go away as long as you keep trying and never give up. And remember that you're doing a good job by learning a foreign language, and it's a sign of bravery. And it shows that you're willing to grow as a person, and you're willing to take, your career to the next level. Because I've worked with many people, right? And they were really like successful people, having businesses or whatever. But the barrier was English. So English can actually take you to another, another place, a higher place, and can open doors for you. So that's what I say to people. So always keep it in mind, and also think about the outcomes, right? So why am I learning English? I'm learning English because I have a goal. So maybe I'm learning English now so that 2 years I'll go and study maybe Cambridge. Maybe I'll go get a scholarship to study abroad. Maybe I want to get a certain job. So always relate your learning to your future goals, right? That's the best way to stay motivated.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have a purpose, then you will stop. Maybe you will start for a few weeks or months and then you will stop. And it's also about the consistency. It's being consistent what really matters. So be consistent with your learning. And some people sometimes they study like one day they study 3 hours and then they stop for 3 days or 4 days. And when they start again, they feel that there's no progress.
Yeah.
So I would rather study 30 minutes every day, right? Than study just, 2 hours and then stop. So it's about the consistency, being consistent. Do just 20 30 minutes every day is much better than doing nothing. So you can always learn this way. You can always read. You can, for example, listen. If you, let's say you are on the train or you are driving somewhere, you can listen, do two things at the same time. That's the best thing about listening. So you can listen while you're driving, while you're cooking, uh, you can listen anytime. And when it comes to the fear, I guess it's the mental aspect
Yeah.
that is very important. And people should always know that it is normal and it's actually not a sign of weakness, but it's a sign of being brave. And you show to other people that you're ready to take your career to the next level.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Mr. Bada, thank you very much for your valuable tips for my audience. Thank you very much for that.